Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. So, guys, I've just got up and seen all the results. Wallin beats Dominic Breazeale. Oscar Valdez knocks out Miguel Berchelt. And we had Broner back with a win against Santiago. Now, listen, I feel that let's go look at the Broner fight first, man. Broner, unimpressive. Unimpressive, not letting his hands go. I don't know I don't know what's up with Broner. He just doesn't let his hands go. I felt like the other guy probably nicked it, or it was close to draw. Like, it was a very close fight, but against a guy that was on very short notice, had very short notice, and Broner's struggling, man. Broner's struggling against guys like that. I think Broner's. I don't know whether Broner can make it. I don't know with Broner. I think Broner's done in terms of, I think he's obviously gonna make a few quid out of it. I don't think Broner's got much left. If I'm totally honest with you, he's taken a long time out. Well, this is his first fight since the Pacquiao fight. I don't think Broner's got a lot left, if I'm totally honest with you, and I don't know whether his heart's in it. I know he says he's working, but I just think that it's all about money for Broner now. Personally, I think Broner should target a Khan fight. He couldn't even make 140. He couldn't even make 140, Broner. He stayed at 147. You know, Broner's got no chance of beating Taylor or Ramirez. No chance. Whoever wins that fight, he's got no chance against either guy. I don't even think he's got a chance against Prograis. If I'm honest with you, I think Prograis will beat him. I think if he wants to make some money, I think he should target a fight with Khan. Maybe they should do that in the Middle East, or maybe here in the UK. They might be able to do some decent numbers. Like, I think they both could make some good money as well. I think the fight in the Middle East would make sense. It's a fight that I've always wanted to see earlier on as well. 4 or 5 years ago, I wanted to see that fight. I don't think Broner can compete against anyone of top level, world level. You know, Amir Khan's not fought for a very long time. He's also, like, towards the end of his career. And I think that would make sense for him financially, and it would make sense for him from a fight, from a competitive standpoint. Even though I think even this version of Khan would beat Broner. Broner just doesn't let his hands go. He doesn't let his hands go. And I'm not impressed. You know, a lot of people said that, say that Broner's a wasted talent. He's a great fighter. To be honest with you, I've never been that impressed with Adrian Broner. Even when he was winning titles, I was never, he's a 4-weight world champion, and that's nothing to sneeze at. You have to respect that. But when you look at some of the guys that he fought for those world titles, when he stepped up to the top guys, the guys that we've heard of, the guys that we know, right? He failed miserably. They weren't even close fights. Like, Maidana was quite a convincing win for Maidana. Mikey Garcia, convincing win for Mikey Garcia. Porter, convincing win for Porter, apart from him knocking Porter down. And then Manny Pacquiao, it's not been competitive. He's not been competitive in his losses. It's been one-sided as far as I'm concerned. I don't know whether Broner has it. That's why I'm saying that I don't think he can compete at world level anymore. Or, I don't think he was ever able to compete against that top echelon of fighters. But I think now, if he's struggling against guys like this, Santiago, come on. He's struggling against guys like that coming on a 1 week's notice. And before, guys like this, he was blowing guys like this out. But now, even these type of guys are making him struggle. By the way, I'm not disrespecting that Santiago, but Broner should be winning that fight. He should be winning that fight comfortably. Especially when he says he's been working hard and been training very hard, and he comes back like that. It's just unimpressive. And people are off on Broner now. I don't think people think that Broner is relevant anymore. I don't think people rate Broner anyway. I think people got off Broner a long time ago, and I think this isn't going to help. A lot of people are saying he should retire, and probably should, because where's he gonna go? Who's he gonna fight? He can't fight at world level. He can't. You really want to see him against Ramirez or Taylor? I don't think he stands any chance. I don't think those fights are competitive as far as I'm concerned. So I don't know where Broner goes from here. Like I said, I would love to see a fight with him and Khan. It'd be a big payday for both. It's not a fight that I think Broner wins, by the way. I think he loses. But nevertheless, I think it's still a good payday for him and a good fight. And he might have a chance of winning because we don't know what Khan's got left. So we don't know what Amir Khan's got left. So that would be a great fight for Adrian Broner, Amir Khan. I think it makes sense for both guys. They're both big names. They both can use their names to make, have a great payday and have a great fight. And maybe the winner can then, the loser retires and the winner can maybe get a meaningful fight. Who knows? But yeah, I don't think Broner's got a lot left. I think his career's coming to an end, and I think someone's gonna beat. And listen, Broner's never been knocked out, so to speak, but I do think if he fights a top level guy now, he could potentially be knocked out. I don't think Broner is what you. I don't think Broner was ever what people thought he was gonna be initially when he first came. They were calling him they were saying he was gonna be the next Floyd. Listen, I saw Adrian Broner against Gavin Rees, and I wasn't convinced then when he fought Gavin Rees. Then I saw Adrian Broner against Malignaggi, and I was even more not convinced. More so not convinced. And then in his fight after that, he got beat by Maidana, and that just kind of, the way he got beat. Maidana's a world-class fighter, so there's no shame in getting beat, but it was the way he got beat, the way he fell apart, that made me realize that, you know what, this guy, he just doesn't let his hands go. He doesn't let his... People say, oh, he's not letting his hands go after after the Maidana loss. He didn't let his hands go before that. I saw him against Gavin Rees. He didn't let his hands go. I'm like, why isn't he throwing punches? I saw him against Paulie Malignaggi. Paulie Malignaggi is not even a big puncher. And he weren't letting his hands go in that fight. It's not a thing that just because he got beat by Maidana. Maybe after the Maidana fight, he's letting his hands go even less. But trust me, before that, he wasn't letting his hands go that much. I'm telling you. He weren't letting his hands go before that. I saw him against Gavin Rees when he was undefeated, when everybody was saying he's the mustard. And I saw it, and he weren't letting his hands go. I was like, what's this guy doing when he was fighting Gavin Rees? Gavin Rees just wasn't at that level and was too small for Broner. Otherwise, Gavin Rees was giving Broner work. This is what I'm saying to you, that I wasn't a fan of Adrian Broner from the start. He never let his hands go. Yeah, he always had that issue of not letting his hands go. It wasn't because of the Maidana loss. Even early on in his career, he was like that. So I think people are getting drawn in, oh, he doesn't let his hands go because of the Maidana. No, go watch the Malignaggi fight. Go watch the Gavin Rees fight. He didn't let his hands go in those fights either. So to me, I'm not surprised. But now what we're seeing Adrian Broner now struggle against guys that he would normally beat easily, like Santiago. He was never struggling at this kind of level. His struggle always came against fighters like, that were good fighters, former world champions, top fight, decent names. But he's struggling against lower level guys now. So that might be signs that, it might be time to hang him up. But I want to talk about the Miguel Berchelt and Oscar Valdez. What an upset that was. Miguel Berchelt was favored to win that fight, and Oscar Valdez outboxed him, beat him up, and then knocked him out in the 10th. You know what? That was a beatdown. Valdez did great. Now, some people are starting to blame the weight, saying that he was drained. Listen, I find it funny that every time someone loses, there always has to be some kind of excuse or some kind of reason why they lost. The weight issue comes up, some other issue comes up, or his camp was bad. Just sometimes you get beat by the better man. You get beaten by a determined, hungry fighter. And that's what Valdez was. And Valdez landed a beautiful left hook to finish the fight. Listen, Valdez has now put himself in a great position. Valdez has now put himself in a position where he's going to fight for a... He's a world champion. He's a world champion at super featherweight. And he's now could fight Herring. He could fight, I think the IBF is vacant, if I'm not mistaken. The IBF is vacant, and Herring's the other champion. Herring's fighting Frampton, which if Frampton wins, that could be a fight for Valdez. Frampton and Valdez, they haven't fought. No, it was Quigg and Valdez that had a fight. Valdez beat Quigg. But yeah, this is a great win for Valdez. He's a great little fighter, Valdez. Great little fighter. Eddie Reynoso's fighter, and Eddie Reynoso, he's got some brilliant fighters. Andy Ruiz, Canelo Alvarez, Ryan Garcia, Oscar Valdez. This guy's got some cracking little fighters. All Mexican warriors, all good fighters, man. All really good fighters. Eddie Reynoso has got he's got a really good stable of fighters there, man. All of them are, Canelo's a world champion. Andy Ruiz was a former world champion. And Oscar Valdez is a current world champion. It's only Ryan Garcia that's never been a world champion, but he's probably one of the most, obviously not as big as Canelo, but he's probably the most popular out of all. So yeah, I think he's got a great stable of fighters. He's got a great, you can say Eddie Reynoso is going to be making a lot of money. Well, he doesn't really need any of the others. He's got Canelo, who's the cash cow of the sport. But he's going to be making a shed load. Reynoso's going to definitely be making huge amounts of money. With working with all these top fighters. But he deserves it as well because he's a good trainer, man. He's a very good trainer, very respected trainer. And when you're working with that many good fighters, it's hard, man. Imagine, like, he's got a fight next week. He's got a fight next week with Canelo and Yildirim. This guy's in high demand right now, Eddie. So fair play to him. I'd like to see Oscar Valdez maybe look to unify. I think Berchelt might probably move up to 135, I reckon. And I think Oscar Valdez should look to unify with the winner of Frampton and Herring. Who's the other champion? It's not coming to my mind. I know the IBF is vacant. Herring is the champion. Valdez is now the champion. Who's the other Jack? It's not coming to my mind. Stevenson. It's not Stevenson. He's 126. I can't remember. Is it Davis? I think it might be Gervonta Davis. Is Gervonta Davis the WBH? I think it might be, I think Gervonta Davis. So Oscar Valdez might fight with Gervonta Davis. That would be a great fight. Gervonta Davis, there's rumors that he may be fighting... Gervonta Davis may be fighting Gary Russell. There were rumors that come out. I seen it on Facebook yesterday that Gervonta Davis may be fighting Gary Russell. I don't know how true that is. I don't know whether... they're just rumors, but there are rumors that he could be fighting Russell. So that would be, Russell might be a little bit too small, but Valdez and Gervonta Davis, that would be a war. That'd be a great fight. That'd be a great fight. I'd love to see Valdez fight the winner, Frampton and Herring. I don't know whether Herring will fight again, so that belt might become vacant. If Frampton wins, he might fight Valdez. But if Herring wins, he may just retire and that belt might become vacant. And Valdez might be in a position where he could become unified champion. Because like I said, the IBF is currently vacant. So if Miguel Berchelt moves up, that might leave Valdez an opportunity to fight for the vacant IBF World Championship against the #1 contender. And that might mean he becomes a unified champion, So Oscar Valdez is in a great position because I think if Herring beats Frampton, I think Herring will retire. That will become vacant. So there's a great opportunity for Valdez to become a unified champion. And he's a great little fighter. He's a great little Mexican fighter. Very tough. Got an iron jaw. Punches hard. He's fast. He's a good fighter, man. He's a good fighter, and he ironed out Berchelt yesterday. Like I said, that wasn't expected. But great performance. Great performance by Valdez. I don't know whether you guys were expecting that. Were you guys expecting Valdez to beat Berchelt like that? I certainly wasn't. Berchelt was a favorite going into that fight. And then let's move on to the next one. Otto Wallin beating... Dominic Breazeale. Dominic Breazeale is really slow. Really slow. Like, I wouldn't say either of them look really impressive, but Otto Wallin did his thing. Otto Wallin got the win, but I won't say either of these guys look special or look like top 10 worthy fighters. But it definitely makes Fury's win over Wallin look better. But like I said, I'm not impressed with either guy. They're both kind of like sloppy, slow heavyweights. But you know, Wallin came out of nowhere, and nobody really gave him any chance against Fury, and he did better than what people expected him to do, and he kind of made a name for himself. But if you look at Otto Wallin against even someone like Luis Ortiz, like Ortiz would destroy him. Let's be honest, and Ortiz is old. Povetkin against Wallin. Povetkin destroys him. You know, Dylan White against Wallin. Dylan White beats him. So I don't really look at Parker. Parker beats Otto Wallin. So I don't even look at Otto Wallin as, I think there's many guys that can beat Otto Wallin. I just think he's not a top 20 guy. I think there's 20 heavyweights better than him. I think young prospects will beat him. I think Daniel Dubois beats Otto Wallin, if I'm honest with you. I'm sorry. Daniel Dubois beats Dominic Breazeale. Probably beats Otto Wallin as well, to be fair. I don't really, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of either guy, Breazeale or Wallin. Why not make Wallin Wilder? That's a good fight. You know, let's see how good Wallin is. Let's see if his fight with Fury was him rising to the occasion, and he's a decent fighter. Let's see if he can beat Wilder. I personally think Wilder will knock him out in 2 or 3 rounds, just because Wallin looks static to me, and Wilder will chin him. So I like to see that fight. Why don't Wilder come back and fight Wallin? You know, I'm pretty sure Wallin he would take that fight in a heartbeat. You know, so that'd be a good fight, Wilder v Wallin. But in terms of these guys, or Breazeale now, that might be it for him. But in terms of Wallin doing anything at world level in the heavyweight division, no, not for me. Not for me at all. I think both guys were quite sloppy. Very slow movement, and I just think some of the top guys in the division will eat him up. We already saw what Wilder did to Breazeale, and I think Wilder will do the same to Wallin, if I'm totally honest with you. Both slow, sloppy, and I just don't see them beating top level guys. But yeah, I like to see Wilder v Wallin. Good fight. I think it'd be a good fight for Wilder. Leave your thoughts. Let me know what you think about the 3 fights, about, you know, Oscar Valdez's KO of Berchelt, Broner's unconvincing comeback, and Wallin's win over Breazeale. Leave your thoughts. Let me know what you think, guys. And guys, remember to please like, share, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.